takes your energy. It all depends on how bad it is, and of course Kavanagh has been central in the Ulster Championship. He's probably been their best player in all the games. He's now pushed up to centre forward to allow Enda McGinley come into centre field, which is a huge bonus for Tyrone, because McGinley has great legs and his work rate is phenomenal, and he was injured in the Ulster Championship, so he's a huge bonus to have back there, and it strengthens up that Tyrone forward. Like, Kavanagh's always played more or less as a forward from midfield anyway, but now that you have Mulligan, Kavanagh, O'Neill, you know, you have huge scoring potential in the Tyrone forward line.
One thing though that I am fascinated, Joe, with is the fact that Tyrone have shuffled their team around from the last day to obviously counteract Cork's game, so they're obviously worried about the way Cork play.
Tyrone always do that. The starting point is to negate the opposing team's strengths, you know, and I mean, the priorities today were to curb that middle eight of Cork, and also to keep Graham Canty occupied and restore Sean Kavanagh to the position where he's comfortable, you know, as Colin said. And in fact, Sean has struggled this year in the Ulster Championship because both Armagh and Derry targeted him for man-to-man treatment. And against Kildare, he was very unhappy having to play out in the middle of the field in a conventional role, because McGinley wasn't available. The only day that he was able to cut loose was against Antrim in the Ulster final. But he has been devastating in Croke Park in that free roll running through the middle, and he creates a terrible dilemma for opposing teams, because he disappears out around the middle and then he comes at great pace up the field. They give him the ball, he's a great finisher, and he can shoot from 40 metres or come in and stick the ball in the net. So I mean, if he weren't to be playing today, it would leave, you know, it would leave them in a considerable difficulty. They would immediately be more defensive. With him there, you can see what he gives them in Croke Park.
And I think the point you make is true, Joe. Like, the idea of dropping a player, bringing on a player in a lot of counties in an All-Ireland semi-final would create a bit of a fuss. In Tyrone, it's sort of standard practice, like last year's All-Ireland final, like Justin McMahon, Joe McMahon, to bring on fellas, to drop fellas, to pick a team to suit the opposition and to get on with.
To sit on the bench today, for example, you know, and Tommy's been flying in the training. I mean, in their last training game, he was the top scorer and he looked great. But, you know, he's got to take his place on the bench, and that's because it's horses for courses all the time.
One of the things, Pat, you know, reading the newspapers, listening to people during the week, some were going for Tyrone, some were going for Cork. There's a real split down the middle about the semi-final.
Can I use a big word?
Well, Joe's used the biggest one so far, so
yes.
Conundrum.
It's not really that big, but I have to say that was a bit of an anticlimax.
It's the biggest I could come up with. I have a conundrum about today's game, because, like you said earlier on, I mean, it's you weigh up the pros and cons, and the way a lot of the analysis on Tyrone is on what they're capable of producing, is on Tyrone at their best, and we haven't seen. Like last year now, we got two big performances. We got a great quarter-final from Tyrone against Dublin, and we got a fantastic final and an easy enough semi-final. We haven't got a 70-minute performance from Tyrone this year. They cruised through Ulster, third gear, second gear. Against Kildare, they were under pressure, but like great teams, they can move up that gear for 15 minutes, 6 unanswered points after half-time, and they blew it out. Now, the question that it raises two questions. You can say it's great, they're winning without hitting top gear, or you can say, oh, maybe they mightn't, maybe that this year they're not capable of reaching top gear, and unfortunately we won't know whether they have the intensity and the passion, the work rate until.
Well, that's an interesting point, because you know, one of the things that people around Tyrone are saying is, you know, someday, and we don't know when it is, the team will finally hit the wall. You know, a team that's been going since 1998 will finally hit the wall, and you don't know until the biggest days, but they appear very, very fresh. They had a nice loosener against Kildare, and you saw whenever they needed to look to their protection against Kildare, they were able to shut the game down, reeled off 6 points in 7 or 8 minutes, held Kildare to 2 points throughout the second half. They look very fresh and strong.
But you know, I mean, Tyrone's game plan is based on intensity, work rate, hunger, movement. And the thing about it, sometimes in amateur games, you know, it's very hard. Why it's very difficult to put All Irelands back to back is that you cannot replicate the hunger of the previous year and the work rate of the previous year. And I mean, you look at Tyrone's record, and it's very, very good, but they have yet to put 2 semi-final victories back to back.
Well, of course, already this summer, Cork and Tyrone have picked up silverware. Cork winning the Munster Championship and Tyrone claiming the Ulster title. Now, in both finals, they met somewhat unexpected opposition, with Limerick taking on Cork, while Antrim made it through to a rare Ulster final appearance. During the week, we caught up with the managers of those two counties, Mickey Ned O'Sullivan and Liam Bradley, both making the most of their now free time